So now that you are done your template for your rubric, you can go on to build your form based off that template. So I have most of it made. So I started with all the tags that I have here. I'm going to incorporate somehow into my Google Form rubric. So I have the student name, I put it here, and then I have the assignment, and then if you go down, I have every other single tag that I have in there so far. I've left a couple so I can show you. For I go to 1.3, let's see where I am here, 2.6. So if you look here, I need to add this one in here. So in my Google form, go to the bottom, I need to add an item. And what I want this to be is, I want this to be a choose from list, because it's the level. So I'm going to put a 1.3 level, because that was the tag I used on the Google Doc template. And I'm going to make that a required question, because I definitely have to fill out a level for that. And I go done. And then my next one is going to be a paragraph text. So I click on the drop down menu from the add item, and I click on paragraph text, and I go a 1.3 comment this time. Now this time I'm not going to click a required question because I might not use it. So we are going to click done there, and then I think I noticed from the last one that I also need a 3.7 in there. 3.6, 3.7, 2.1. Yeah, so if you do leave one out, no worries, you can add an item, and we're going to add a choose from list. And that is a 3.7 level, and we are going to again make it a required question. And then we go done and ticket it up there. We just click, wait until we see the 4 arrows come up, click on it, and then move it up to where we need to. We need it right here. And then we'll go down and we'll add another item. This time will be the paragraph text, and it's a 3.7 comment this time, because that's the tag we used. And we go done. We didn't want to make it a required question in case we don't want to make a comment in there. And then I put it right here, and I change that because it's not a comment. There we go, and we click done. Now if you remember my template, after all my levels and comments at the very bottom, I had a strength and next step and how to get there. So I need to add all of those in here as well, and they're going to be a required question because we want the descriptive feedback in there for sure. So that was the strength and required question done. And then add another item, paragraph text, next step. And oh, that was a paragraph, and it's a required question. Click done. And last one, paragraph text, how to get there. And a required question done. And then I have my Google form made for my rubric. I do want to show you a neat little trick, especially if you're going to use forms throughout your class and you're going to have the same students in all your rubric forms or in a variety of forms they can fill out. And it's this: you're going to go to add-ons and you're going to get an add-on, but what you're going to type in is form values to find it. I already have it installed, so I can't go through that. But what I can do is once you install it, you click on add-ons and it comes here, and you go use create choices. And the sidebar pops up here, and then what you can do at the beginning of each year is create and edit your value lists. So if you look at mine, for our super awesome project, I've already typed in 4 students: John Doe, Jane Q. Public, Jean Reese, and Ludwig Wittgenstein. There are 4 students for this one. I have also made a rubric scores 1, 2, 3, 4 just to save time when we're filling it out. So just because I've already done this, you would just create your heading tag here. So maybe it's your 6A math class, and then you would start to write your student names down here: student 1, student 2, until you have them all in alphabetical order. And that's how you do it. Now once that's made, you need to attach that form value to each one of the questions where you want to add that form value. So for example, I'm going to refresh that because I've added more, and I want to make sure that all my choices are available when I do this. So for example, if I have student name as the question, I want to choose that super awesome from the table because it had my student list on here. And if you look here, I submit, and let's see, I click on that question, and John Doe, JNQ Public, Jean Reese, and Ludwig Wittgenstein are there. Now I'm going to do that with all of these too, my rubrics. No, I've already added it to this one. I just want to make sure it was there. It's not going to be on 3.7, so if I go to 3.7 level, and then I go to rubric scores and submit, it will be there. And I'm going to do that for all of them. In fact, every single level one I want, because I want to make sure that I can choose that drop down menu when I'm in the form. So the great thing about this, if you had comments that you were writing all the time or something repetitive, you could definitely use this form values to save you a little bit of time. 2.4, 2.6. And 1.3. Just show you another example of how I use the form values. In my last role, I was working with students and I wanted to document what I was working on them with. So I just made a list of everything I generally worked with here. And so it could be in a drop-down menu, and also the subjects I was working with the students in. So it just saved a lot of time in the Google form. So after that is done, your form is set. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I added one more that wasn't in my tag, and that's the assignment name. And I added that because one of the following videos is going to be how to use your form data that shows up in the sheet to make a to use Doc Appender to append it to a Google Doc that will collate all the information on the one student. So when it comes to reporting or parent-teacher interviews, you could scroll through a Google Doc with all your rubric data right there in front of you to help you out. So there you go. So to recap, you want to make a question for each one of your tags in your form. So you just go through your tags, you make each one a question in your form, and then if you want to, you can use that form values to quickly and easily add things you're going to do over and over again, so it could save you time. X that off now, and done.